Let's talk about ChatGPT.
Welcome to the Thought Bistro with Akhil and Vishrut as a deep dive into a variety of interesting and thought provoking topics. Join them as they explore the world of ideas and broaden our collective horizons.
So, when we searched and we wanted to try and find a description for ChatGPT that made sense to everyone, so we did what we thought we should. We entered on ChatGPT, what is ChatGPT, and this is what the response we got. It says ChatGPT is a language model trained by OpenAI. It says it's not a chat bot, but a text-based AI that can help answer questions, provide information, and generate human-like text on a wide range of topics. Now, this may sound like a lot of technical jargon, but it's essentially a search model, and you can talk to it, you can type messages into it, and you'll get responses. So here we are today to discuss what it does, how it does it, and what are its implications to us, and what we think about it.
I think I'm gonna expand on your definition because I was really wowed by it. It's a very different kind of search experience. You can search stuff as basic as how old is Barack Obama, and it can go really deep as, code in Python the snakes game from Nokia for me. And it gives you a full coded game on there. And I tried to grab the game and run it on my computer, and it just worked like a charm. And it is a very surreal experience trying to search something which used to be so trivial at all times.
RIP coders. RIP coders. That's all I can think of when you're saying that. And being a coder myself, I'm a little scared, honestly, and happy because A, you don't have to spend the hours coding, but B, damn, is it going to take my job? That brings us on to the next part of our discussion. How humans are always very resistant to change. I think we were talking about that earlier. You look at the start of just let's look at technology, the internet, email, all these things. We we as humans are very, very resistant to change.
Every time something phenomenal happens, we try to hide in our caves and try to protect our darkness. There was this very interesting story about three people sitting in a cave, and three people just see shadows for the rest of their lives. And one day, this one guy gets outside the cave and sees some color and realizes that the elephant shadow actually has a beautiful gray to it. And it realizes that the tiger shadow has a beautiful yellow to it. He comes back and tells everybody else, and they call him crazy. They tie him up and they kill him. So, just like that, every time we have a new technology, as you said, internet and email, we start questioning, do we really need the internet? Do we really need a mapping tool to deliver newspapers? That is just stupid. Oh, if we'll get email, what will happen to our letter delivery man? Or something as basic as automation. If there is automation in the manufacturing segment, then what will happen to the laborers? Well, guess what? They move forward and they find a different niche, a different subset of skills, and a different way to work in. And that is where the world moves forward.
Dude, look at Kindle, man. When Kindle had come out, I remember everyone being, oh my God, this is the death of paper books. No one's ever going to buy a paper book again. And hello, newsflash, that is not the case. People love their Kindle, but people still love books and they still buy books in heaps. I for one can say that, you know, with my head held high that I love my books and I will continue buying books. So there is no, and I love Kindle as well because there's stuff that I can't find physically, which I can find online, which is great.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it as well, right? Because at the end of the day, there is no black or white. And every argument lies in the gray. Every argument has a base rule to it. It has a yes probability and a no probability. And that's the beauty of our evolution altogether. You find people using tablets and then they say tablets replace laptops. That doesn't happen. However, it does take a chunk out of it and it gives access to more people and it gives new kind of access to answers to people, which is where we build ourselves.
I think it just takes away the whole generality of things. Like a laptop today has a much more specified function. A tablet today has a much more specific function. Today, a desktop, for example, you thought when laptops came, desktops are going to be finished. Nobody's going to sit on a desk and, confine themselves to a desk, sit in one place and do something. But now desktops are being used for a lot more power consumption, like things that require a lot more powerful processors, a lot more energy. That stuff is being done on a desktop. And as you move from desktops to laptops to tablets, your level of operations go down and you're becoming that much more efficient, that much more optimized. So you can say, in a sense, that, this evolution, this whole thing of moving forward has actually made us realize that, this is something that should be specialized and, targeted for this particular job because that's what it does best.
I think for us, growth has always been a scary topic, and growth has always come in different flavors. And when such a growth is coming through, where a machine can sit there and it can give you the answer at your fingertips, or the machine can sit there, you can feed code inside it and it can debug the code, that really changes the spectrum of things. These brilliant minds that we have on this planet, they have one limited resource, and that limited resource is time. And the more of it we can provide them, which currently we do try to do, every IDE has a debugger built into it. But the more we can provide them, the better questions they can ask and the faster answers they can find. And that's what it's all about as far as growth goes.
And I think that's the beauty of an AI, because an IDE debugger is very constrained in what it knows. It knows exactly what the developer is feeding into it. It's not adapting, like, every second. It's not learning new things. Whereas something like ChatGPT is learning. It's constantly learning as we were going through it. It's influenced by this thing called Common Crawl, which crawls the internet every month and collects some whopping amount of data. What was it? 380 terabytes or something more than that. Tebibytes. Tebibytes. That was the one, which is,
Yeah,
I
that
think,
was one.
it's 1:1.1. So you can do the math, and it's like some crazy amount of data that's basing itself on. And this is just every month. So, and it's been doing this since 2011. So, I mean, a rough calculation tells us that's about 100 odd months that it's basing at that the crawl has done. And this is just 60% of the data, mind you. So, ChatGPT, in the data that it's influenced by, has 60% of its data, or 410 billion tokens, coming from Common Crawl, and the other 40%, or which is about another close to 70 or 80 billion tokens, come from other sources around the web, including some of you might scoff on it, 3% of its tokens coming from Wikipedia.
The other bit is coming from books, which is also a phenomenal thing because we tend to value our books a lot, and the information in our books tend to be more accurate than that on sources like Wikipedia. So for those concerned, the sources are pretty valid.
Yeah, books have about 6%, 16%.
Right. And with that, I would like to delve into the next topic, which is, do you think this is the future of search? Because we've been talking about future so much. So how does search build onto this?
So I think you and I were having this conversation earlier that, when we were doing math in college, we had Wolfram Alpha and Symbolab to help us solve differentials and integrals. And, basically the problem statements that we were given, the problems that we were given, we had to form the integral, but solving it, we could always use an integral solver or a differential solver and we could find the answer. We never had to really do the hard work of really doing the integration step by step. That was just something we knew. And the professors we had in college realized that, yeah, this is something, we don't need you to do that again and again. And this alludes back to the repetitiveness that you were referring to earlier, that, we have a limited resource called time and we need to utilize it better. So I think what this is going to do is take out that monotony from our learning. Obviously, one still needs to know the basic concepts of integration, differentiation, and all these other things. But do you really need to put in the time, or which the 15 minutes that it'll take you to solve an integral that a model online can do in a matter of seconds?
You know, there was this great physicist, his name was Richard Feynman, and he put it very well. He's like, in ancient times, they used stones to do 2 plus 2. And they would put 2 stones and then 2 stones with that, and they would know that it's 4 stones. Then there came the beads, and they would use strings of beads and try to do the same kind of mathematics. And then there came the strings, where they would tie strings together to try and have some kind of a memory of mathematics of how it was being done. He's like, I do not care. All of these are just tools to get me to the final answer of I have these many of something. And he says, when we have invented calculators, use them. When we have invented the future, use it. And similarly, when we discuss the education system, you and I both did our education from India in the Indian system till high school. And after that, we both went to the US. I had this really weird experience, right? Because in India, you're supposed to memorize the formulas, and you're supposed to not use a calculator. You're supposed to use the old method of writing it on paper and trying to get the calculations down.
Oh,
You're
those
supposed
rough
to
work columns. Oh, those
all
dreaded
the
rough work columns. Oh my God.
Oh, yes. Do you remember trying to do the square root of something and then just messing up because you're supposed to have so much guesswork put into it?
Forget just messing up. You messed up because you've written something down, like you've written a number wrong, or you've copied a number wrong from your rough work column into your fair column. Oh my God, the nightmare. I was a very careless, mistake prone person. So this is literally some stuff that my nightmares were made of in school. I used to be dreading that, oh my God, have I, please tell me I have not made a careless mistake, because those used to be the bane of my existence.
The question is, what did they want us to learn? Did they want us to learn the process of thinking, how to answer a question, or the process of actually conducting those calculations? Because when I got to the US, they gave me my laptop, they gave me my calculator, and they're like, we'll make such a difficult exam for you, and you get all the
That
resources you
neither will
want.
help. Yeah. You have to know the concept.
Right, and still the average score would be like 40 marks out of 100 in class, despite us having access to messages where we could just message each other what's the answer and nobody
Everyone
knows.
is struggling when they had those variations, right? They used to give us four different papers with the numbers jumbled up. So you couldn't really message the other person and be like, hey, you know, I have this version. Which version do you have? And so that was, and as I said earlier, they used to give us problems to form the integral that needed to be solved. Whereas what I noticed a lot in India is we used to be given the integral and they were like, solve it. So rather than like, understanding the concept behind, okay, this is what constitutes making an integral, or this is what it may be used for, and then not really bothering so much into the process of solving it because there are more efficient things out there to solve it. They were much more, they were more focused on the actual doing the hard work and solving that integral.
So the next question I have comes from that chain of thought. So the chain of thought is, when you Google something, you find multiple resources, you find multiple answers, you find multiple opinions, as per se, and you're supposed to form your own. And when you go through like tens of 20 pages, and then when you get to that, then you form an answer. However, in ChatGPT, you just get an answer. So, do you think that is a good? Do you think that is a bad? Do you think it is a bit of both? What's your opinion on that?
So I think it again depends on what you're searching for, what you want to get out of that search. So today, if you and I want to just be like, oh, how old is Barack Obama? We just want a one word answer and we want to move on. We don't need three Google articles giving us three different answers. We don't need, we don't need verification on it. We just need a ballpark figure. So it all depends on what one is searching for. And I know you and me are very similar this way, that we would honestly prefer reading 15 articles rather than someone giving us the answer. But at the same time, there are times when both of us would just be like, dude, just give me the straight answer. I really don't want to get into the depths of this. So I think this gives you that option that, how far into something do you want to go?
So, what about the populace, though? When you talk about the many, will they just use it as the word of God, as per se? When my teacher tells me something, it is correct. Now, if ChatGPT tells me something, it is correct. Is that a possibility for the many? Because we are lucky to be as educated as we are, but that's not the entirety of the world. So, do you think it'll have consequences on that front?
See, I can't I can't speak for the many, but I definitely think there is going to be a certain chunk of people who will do that. And ChatGPT or models that will eventually come about that are similar to ChatGPT will definitely, have this sort of, oh, give me an answer and the answer will be provided to you. For example, the model that ChatGPT is based on, yeah, it's called the Text Da Vinci. So that was a much more rudimentary bot where it didn't have any barriers on it. Like ChatGPT will not give you anything that is gory or violent, or it doesn't glorify pain. It doesn't give you an answer when you say, "Oh, how can I bully someone?" Whereas there will be AI bots that will just give you answers to that. So that is the gray when we talk about AI. That is the gray when we talk about a model that is trained on amounts of data which you and I can't even fathom how large that is. Like, 400 terabytes of data. I mean, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive and I've had it for the past 6 years and I've not been able to fill it. So imagine 400 odd terabytes of data per month, volumes that are unheard of, like, I mean, unimaginable to you and me.
This leads back to the discussion we were having prior to the recording, which spoke about everything mega that happens, everything big that happens comes with two sides of the coin, right? And for example, we spoke about nitrates. The person who came up with the concept of nitrates was a boom for agriculture. And Veritasium has a video on this, which is a very good video to watch. And that video talks about how the human population boomed right after the discovery of nitrates because agriculture at scale was possible post that. Otherwise, they had to get bird poop from some island in Papua New Guinea. And that bird poop was traded like gold. And it was required to refill the soil with the nitrates as well. But that same nitrate is what is used to make gunpowder. And that same nitrate is what burns as bombs. So that dude, the one guy, has been responsible for the most lives taken and the most lives brought on this planet altogether, which is it's a beautiful irony. On the same scale, we have things like oil, right? On one front, we talk about how oil is so bad for the environment and how digging oil is killing Earth and how it's unsustainable. On the other end, it has been oil that has given us such drastic progress over the span of a couple of decades. When we were born, since then till now, the world is a different place to be.
When we were born is still a long time ago. I say in the past decade. If you think about the world in 2010 or 2011 and you look at it now, it is a whole other world, man. You look at, I mean, the way COVID has changed things. I mean, even if you look at 3 years between, you look at 2019 to 2022, I think therein you can see a marked change in the world. Like that is all thanks to change
Right.
that has happened against our will. We were all stuck at home and we were forced to make changes that have changed the world for the better. And today, things that we think are normal are things that we thought were so alien. I mean, look at this, what we are doing. Like, we're sitting in two ends of the world and recording this podcast. I mean, who would have thought of doing this 3 years back? 3 years back, this didn't exist.
Definitely. And it's always these hardships. You talk about COVID. COVID brought so much death, but it also brought so much progress. And I hate to put it this way, but we might prosper post this. It happens every time. It happens during World War II when there was a line, the first line of internet, which was put between England and America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday that only when there is hardship, only when someone is in a dire situation, do they push and tug and do everything that they can to get out of it. So that's when they discover new things. So yeah, I mean, our world, I mean, for all this AI bots are going to be the thing of the future. Today, the way we search things, we are not going to have to search Google articles again. We can just ask our corresponding chat bot, which we use, be like, hey, can you give me like different articles on this instead of I want an answer. You maybe you have a version of Google that works both ways. one giving you a straight answer and the other saying, okay, here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles that this answer has referenced.
So let's discuss the other side. There are always the pros and the cons, right? So let's talk about the scary aspect of this. Right now, the industry is very monetization driven. For example, when you talk about Google, when you talk about Facebook, when you talk about Twitter, when you talk about the recent elections that happened in the US, when you talk about Indian elections, we have always discussed how these things have been able to skew results in a given direction based on advertisement. So, what are your thoughts on the monetization of something like ChatGPT? And do you think ads will be able to drive a given set of population in a given direction?
So I think this also then brings into play the whole thing of, has it passed the Turing test? Is this AI sentient? Can it actually influence people's opinions or emotions? Like, I was reading about Lambda AI that was done by Google, and Google has this engineer called Blake Lemoine, and he was, placed on administrative leave because he put in a case that, oh no, Lambda AI is sentient, whereas Google claimed they have a lot of data saying that it isn't. So on ChatGPT, I tried to run one of those, those questions that, hey, how are you? Or, what are you feeling? And it very clearly gave me an answer saying that I am a chatbot. I do not have emotions. And it gave me the very generic answer. But where is the line? There is that whole thing that there was this bot that was created on Twitter. And within some 11 minutes or 12 minutes, I'm not sure of the time, so please don't quote me on this. It became a Hitler loving, right wing, fanatic. So there is always that side of AI, which is, I mean, Marvel, Avengers, Age of Ultron, what? So there is always that side of AI as well. So we have to first, come to that thing that are we comfortable with AI being sentient?
There is this great documentary on Netflix, and that documentary is made by different people who have worked for companies like YouTube and who've worked for companies like Twitter. And they talk about the effect of this rabbit hole, where once you see a video in a given direction, it keeps leading you deeper and deeper into your own views because it tries to reaffirm your thinking. Now, coming back to the topic of ChatGPT on this front, this is a machine that is giving me an answer. It is not giving me multiple options. If I'm to talk about answers versus research, then if that answer is skewed by a sponsor, or if that answer is skewed by the fact that somebody's paying me more money compared to somebody else, then that can actually drive the population in a very different way. Maybe some regulation should come along with it. I am a core, hard coded capitalist. I do not believe in regulations much. However, I do think that at some point, people's opinions need to be protected and people's freedom of thinking needs to be protected as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see everywhere in the world, I think regulation is something that we as humans require in some amount. I don't say too much, but you have to find that sweet spot somewhere. And as you're saying that, today, if we're looking at the future of search where we're not really, physically going through all the documents or all the articles and we're just getting an answer, and that answer is being skewed by someone sponsoring it or some ad popping up, I think, a lot of people won't have the patience to, sit through the ad or be like, okay, this is probably just a sponsored thing. Let me actually wait for the real content that is going to follow. So yeah, we have to definitely have that distinction, and there has to be that line somewhere that has to be drawn, that guys, we understand that technology is going much 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 further, but we need to know that we can't use this technology, can't be the basis for someone like becoming a dictator. Suddenly it turns out one person's been influencing you all the way along, slowly, subtly, just moving your opinions in their favor.
Human agenda never does end, does it? It comes back and it keeps coming back in different forms. And I think in the current day and age, as long as everything has a highlight on it that yes, I am trying to feed this to you so that you consume, rather than being in a hidden manner, that's the only way forward.
Yeah, I think there has to be that explicit nature about any sponsored content or ads that do eventually come on to chatbot. And then I don't know, doing this whole Turing test and understanding whether AI is sentient, I don't think we're really there yet. I think there's one that has gotten to about 33% of approval after the Turing test. So 33% of its answers were believed as if being given by a human or something along those lines.
For our listeners who are unaware of what the Turing test is, it is a test to understand whether AI can be differentiated from human beings as if both were not in vicinity.
For example, if you tell Siri, call me an ambulance, Siri will respond saying, okay, from now on, I will refer to you as an ambulance.
I'm very interested in trying that now.
Yeah, I tried that yesterday. I think they've updated their model since then. I don't think mine worked quite as well. But yeah, this was one of the examples I ended up finding on the website that I went for, and it showed me an example of a Turing test. It said, with Siri, who we think is such a, evolved thing, and we say, "Hey Siri, call me an ambulance." It says, "Yeah, I will call you. I will refer to you as an ambulance from now on."
And that is hilarious. Thankfully, they weren't hooting ambulances outside your house. That would get very
Yeah,
funny very soon.
that would not be very funny.
That would be scary for some, funny for the others, huh? So, Vishnu, I think, are we ready to pack up our discussion for the day?
I think we can continue this discussion for hours and hours, as we've just noticed. There are so many rabbit holes which we have just skimmed over. And, I think it's better that we leave it at this point and let our listeners decide where they want to, take their opinions from here. These are just a few of our opinions. And I would also really like to thank them for being a part of our first episode. Congratulations, Akhil. We have successfully gotten through our first episode.
Congratulations to you as well, and hopefully, it's a long, long journey that we are beginning
Yes,
right now.
absolutely, absolutely. So thank you to everyone for listening. Yeah, please let us know what you think about it. Please subscribe to our podcast if you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends. We're new, so we need all the help we can get. And we should be uploading episodes on as regular of a basis as we can. So do do stay tuned with us and let us know where we can improve. And yeah, you'll find links to get in touch with us on our show notes. Thank you.